last edition, we have discussed the concept of integrated logistics system and its components in a supply chain. In this edition, we will discuss the different activities of the integrated logistics system in a supply chain. Integrated logistics process focuses on two interrelated activities: information flow and inventory flow across the supply chain. Let us discuss the details of the inventory flow and its impact on the integrated logistics system. The logistics operation starts from the shipment of raw materials and parts from the supplier to the manufacturer for processing to produce products needed by the customer, which are delivered at the required time. As the inventory flows, the material gains value at every step of the transformation process till it becomes the finished goods inventory. The inventory flow comprises procurement, manufacturing support and physical distribution, as shown in the diagram below. Let us discuss each factor which affects the inventory flow. Procurement. Procurement is the process of purchasing and arranging inbound movement of goods, that is, materials, parts, semi-finished goods, finished goods from the suppliers to the manufacturer, to warehouses and to the retail stores. It ensures the availability of materials, products at the required place at the right time. Manufacturing support. The second component where you require manufacturing support, which is concerned with the process of planning and scheduling the production of products. They prepare the master production schedules, the material requirement plan and arrange for the timely availability of materials and work in process for the manufacturing process. The important decision in manufacturing support is to determine what to manufacture, when to manufacture and where to manufacture. They manage the work in process as it flows between the stages of manufacturing. The third component in inventory flow is the physical distribution process. Physical distribution is concerned with the movement of goods across the supply chain. It starts from the manufacturing point to the customers through the intermediaries. Physical distribution is an integral part of the marketing effort to meet the requirements of products needed by the customers at the right place and at the right time. Let us discuss the components of information flow in an integrated logistics system. Information flow happens across the supply chain in both directions to enhance the performance of the supply chain. This integrates the process of procurement, manufacturing and physical distribution of the materials to satisfy the requirements of products to different locations at the required time along the supply chain. The key aspect of information flow is to get the right information from the source and to communicate them effectively to the members of the supply chain. Accurate information helps the members of the supply chain to plan and meet the supply chain requirements efficiently. Information flow has two main components, namely planning and coordination flows and operational flows, as shown in the diagram below. Let us discuss each component independently. Let us look at planning and coordination flow. Various elements of the supply chain helps in coordination of the members across the supply chain. The elements are the strategic objective of the supply chain, capacity constraint of the members of the supply chain, the logistics requirement of the supply chain to move the products, inventory requirement across the supply chain, manufacturing requirements to satisfy the demand, procurement of materials for production, and the forecasting of demand. Let us discuss the elements one by one. Strategic objectives. Strategic objectives are the driving force of the supply chain, which is based on the financial and marketing goals of the value chain. Based on the objectives, the supply chain determines the nature and the location of customers to serve and determine their requirements of products and services to satisfy them. Once they determine this, the supply chain can estimate the requirement of resources to support inventory, receivables, facilities, equipment, and capacity needed to satisfy the requirement of the customers of the supply chain. Capacity constraint. Information flow shares the details about the demand to be met by the supply chain. Based on this, the supply chain identifies the limitations and the bottlenecks in manufacturing capabilities to decide on the need for outsourcing the requirements to meet the customer demand. The next component is the logistics requirements. Information flow helps the supply chain to get the forecast of demand and the information regarding customer orders and the inventory status of the members of the supply chain. This helps the logistics department to plan the distribution facilities and other resources required for implementing the capacity plan. Inventory deployment. Information flow helps to determine what, where, and when the deployment of inventory should be done in the logistics process. It acts as an interface between planning and coordination, as well as the operations in detailing the place, timing, and composition of the inventory to be positioned. This helps in balancing the timing and consolidation to create efficient inventory flow through the value chain. Manufacturing requirements. Information flow helps to determine the need for goods and services across the supply chain to meet their requirement. This initiates the manufacturing requirements in the supply chain and the inventory deployment across the supply chain. The manufacturing requirement drives to prepare the master production scheduling and the material requirement planning to meet the demand. The next element is procurement. Procurement requirements are based on the manufacturing requirement. The inbound logistics of raw materials and components are planned, and this helps in maintaining the product supplies continuously. Forecasting. Information flow helps the supply chain to predict the demand of the supply chain to enable it to plan effectively and meet the requirements. These are the elements which have the impact on the planning and coordination flow. Let us now discuss the various elements in operational flow. The operational information flow helps to provide the data required for integrating the physical distribution, manufacturing support, and procurement operations for meeting the requirement of the supply chain. The process of operational flow includes various elements starting from order management, order processing, distribution operations, inventory management, transportation, and procurement. Let us discuss these elements in detail. Order management. Information flow helps to provide the information of the customer's requirement, which is translated across the supply chain to plan and execute the same information. Information technology has revolutionized the process of order management process, which helps in efficient process of logistics system. Order processing. The process of order processing involves in allocating the inventory and or the planned manufacturing to meet the customer requirement. Information technology has facilitated faster and two-way communication process across the supply chain to share the need of the customers and plan the logistics process in satisfying the customer requirement. Distribution operations. Information flow helps to facilitate and coordinate the logistics process by providing the product assortments to the distribution channel to meet the customer requirements. This helps in improving the efficiency of the logistics system. Inventory management. Operational information flow helps in deployment of the inventory across the supply chain to satisfy the planned requirements of the logistics process. Transportation. Operational information flow helps to plan the movement of goods, documentation for the movement of goods, and the process of consolidation of goods for efficient utilization of the transport capacity, whereby it decreases the logistics cost. Procurement. Operational information flow helps to share information necessary to complete the purchase order preparation and the release of the same to ensure the continuous supply of inbound logistics to facilitate operations that link the customers and its suppliers. To summarize, planning and coordination flows helps to provide information relating to planned activities, whereas the operational flows helps to provide the information to direct the day-to-day activities of the supply chain. In this edition, we have discussed the different activities of the integrated logistics system in a supply chain. In the next edition, we will discuss the barriers of integrated logistics system and the factors for integrating the supply chain effectively. Thank you.